A
There's no music behind it though. What is good? What is good, everybody? The boys are back. We are here today, and we're ready to get into some fucking debates because we got a little internal debate going on. I blasted Jordan on Instagram this morning. I think he's been feeling a little salty about it, so we're gonna pour some salt on that wound and see how it goes. So,
Ooh,
Jordan, how are you
wee.
feeling today? Then Ross, and then we'll get into what the fuck is going on.
man, brother, I am feeling blessed beyond belief, grateful every second of every day. Happy to be up here with my brothers, talking about one of our biggest passions. Ready to debate and prove the shirtless closer wrong on live. We're feeling good, bro. We're feeling good. How about you, Rossi?
I'm feeling great. It's been a positive day. Did some mindset stuff in the morning. Um, this week we have a good contract. The guy's cleaning out the house. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a banger. So time will tell with this market, but no complaints over here. Happy to be here and happy to kind of just admire the shredding session and maybe throw in some 2 cents, even though that's all it's worth anyway. But yeah, how about you, Joey?
I'm doing amazing, bro. Business has been good. Did some hiring, firing, all of it in the last couple of weeks, building out the team. Um, yeah, we got a couple closings coming up. Praying to God in the next week with Rita, who's in the comments right here. And yeah, bro, he said, "Hey, the boys are back." I think it's the first time me seeing Joey with a newly hat on. Yeah, we got the hat on right now.
See?
So and my brother Dean. Dean just started doing acquisitions for us. He already is getting close to getting his first contract locked up in South Carolina, actually, and it's looking like a good fucking deal. So excited for that. Excited for him, and I'm just ready to get into this topic right now. So, Jordan,
Let's talk about it.
what are we debating about today?
So we are debating about silence during negotiation. More specifically, silence after an offer was really the big discussion, and then it kind of segued into silence after negotiation. To narrow down what we mean by that, it's like, okay, talking to a seller, I could be at 50 to 60,000 cash. Silence, right? The debate is, do you just say nothing until they say something? Always black and white, that's the immutable law? Or are there times when you interject into the silence intelligently using personality, charisma, rapport, humor, what have you, based on personality? That's the debate.
Okay. So I think the first thing to start the debate is you need to have personality and charisma and rapport to do that. Just joking, but hell yeah. So let's get into it, guys. We got Ross. He's going to be the referee in between us, giving his 2 cents as well, whatever that matters. And we're going to be getting right into this shit. So, do you use silence in a negotiation? And I'm on the side of yes, you fucking do. Like, if I'm going to make an offer to somebody, I need to be silent after I make that offer. The way that I coach sales is when I'm making an offer, right? I'm going to front load the offer without giving any leverage up because when in Never Split the Difference, one of our favorite books, they basically go over how you have negotiation pieces. So you use price as the last negotiation piece. So my offer is basically logic, emotion, pain, amplify the pain, and then hit them with the number and then shut the fuck up. I'm a strong believer that anything that is said after you make the offer is basically a justification for your bullshit offer, right? Doesn't always mean that it's a bullshit offer. Like that's just like the extreme way of saying it. But what it does mean is like if I'm confident in my offer and I know that that's where we got to be, and then I sit there in the silence, that is what's going to get the real objection or answer out of the prospect. If I say anything after that offer, let's say, for example, this was not what Jordan did yesterday, and this is not his example, but let's say, for example, I was like, so I could be at 250 grand. We're going to cover all the closing costs. We're going to have all of the, we're going to move out. We're going to get a cleanup crew to move out the house for you and blah, 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 blah. That basically is saying that, like, my offer is something I do, but these are your benefits. For me, the benefit you save as your leverage points, because now I can enter into a real negotiation. So, Jordan, what is, I guess let's start with your side on this. Why is silence not good after that offer?
Thank you. Thank you for passing the torch here. Jordan never said that silence is not good. Silence is an incredibly powerful tool as a salesperson, especially after making an offer. My perspective is that, like on an acquisitions call, first time I've talked to a seller, when I make my offer in that situation, I am going to lean more heavily into silence and kind of just shut up and let them respond first. The call that I posted that is in question was a renegotiation call. It was a price reduction call. And I had like 4 conversations with the husband and wife in question leading up to this renegotiation call that I did on my live. So my perspective on this one specifically in this certain situation is I had established rapport. It took me about 3 hours across 4 phone calls to build trust with these people. And I was able to build rapport and a connection with them on an emotional person, human to human level. So on that call, I hit her contract price was 75,000. I hit her at 40K, and I knew it was a gut punch. And I did use silence. There went 10 to 15 seconds of silence before I said anything. After the end of that period, when I decided to interject, first of all, I thought she for sure hung up on me. Looks like we lost Joey. We're going to continue.
That was Joey with too much silence on paying his internet bill. So you kept that gap a little too wide, and that's what happens.
Yes, indeed. But so that's my perspective. Is this wasn't my first time talking to the seller. This wasn't a straight up acquisition call. Had it been, I do typically err on the side of stay silent and lean into the silence and stay there. In this instance, and I went and did some research to justify my side in this debate. Silence can, with certain sellers in certain situations, actually become unnerving, and it can sow distrust in their mind and a lack of confidence on my end. In that case, I felt like being silent and remaining silent was going to show them that I thought my offer was bullshit. What I didn't do was justify my offer. What I did do was double down on my stance. I said, listen, if you want to tell me to jump off a cliff, I respect it 100%. You just got to know, based on what we went and saw in our walkthrough and I saw in those photos, I am not moving off this price. This is where I'm at. And I hope there's some way that you and I can work together to make this work for both parties involved.
So wouldn't we say doubling down is the same difference as justification?
Ross, dictionary, please.
Doubling down.
Like, is it identical words? No, but it's basically the same shit, different toilet.
I like where your head's at, but doubling down, I double down a lot actually, because the way you're communicating it to the seller, if they're not understanding it or are having difficulty grasping it conceptually, when you double down and re-explain it in a different light, sometimes that assists with the light bulb going off. Most people are too embarrassed to approach people with questions when they don't get what you're talking about. So they'll just either go in silence or they'll try to breeze over it in whatever manner. Now, silence after delivering an offer is extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. There's no doubt about that. But just remember, silence for too long, the human brain always wants to revert back to negative. Long extended times of silence could equal confusion, or in certain personality profiles, it could raise anxieties. So when you ease up the tension and kind of continue and almost assuming the close and just flowing, that gets people to the signed contract as well. So yes to Joey in a lot of scenarios, just deliver the build up, talk about their situation, talk about rub the salt in the wound of how much pain they're in, deliver your number confidently, and shut the fuck up. I use that a lot. And there are other times where I don't talk about the number at all. I don't even give the offer. I get them down to as low as possible. I talk about their situation only. Then I talk about all the value that we're going to bring to the table, how easy and hands-off it's going to be. And then I paint them a picture of their future and then passively collect their email and deliver it to them and have them open it up. And this is what we got approved. And I just breeze right over it and keep the conversation going, go over the main points, and they sign the contract.
That's the Novation way, 100%. Rich Wonders, I know their process, they do that a lot. So let's not go too deep into that side because that's not really going over the silence after delivering the actual offer, right? I kind of want to revert back towards, like, let's say we made the offer, right? In Jordan's situation, he made the offer and he stayed silent. He told him we were originally at 90K, whatever the fuck the price was, Jordan. And then he said we needed 40 grand off now. So what is going on here? What I see is we're assuming for the seller, even if we have a relationship with them, even if they're a green personality or an analytical person, I mean, analytical, you better stay quiet, right? But silence is like, let me ask you this, Jordan. Are you going to lose a deal totally by just not saying anything for 3 minutes straight? Like they're just going to go away. That's it.
Timeout, pause. 3 minutes? I'm hanging up on your ass 10 times out of 10. 100% you're losing that. Not 100%.
You're not going to say anything though. You're not going to be like, you there? Hello? Anyone here? You know what I mean? It's a call. So,
no, but that's exactly what I did. When
no,
I broke
them.
Them. No. If I'm the seller and you're talking to me, you're the salesman, you hit me with an offer that I do not like, and then you don't say a word for 180 seconds, brother, on the phone, and it's just silence, you're getting banged on. 10 times out of 10, that's just for Jordan personally. I'm hanging up on you every time. I was taught in customer service at age 18 working for Verizon. We don't even let people listen to the hold music for 3 minutes, brother. We're checking in. Hey, I just wanted to pop in and let you know that I'm still here for you. Still on the other end of the line, working hard for you. I just wanted to know I didn't forget about you. I'll be right back. Click, right?
That's hold, though. That's customer service. That's not negotiations and sales, right?
I don't think 3 minutes of silence is conducive to success in just about any scenario. 60 seconds of silence, we could debate that.
23,000
easy.
23,000 says it works because literally I've done that. Extremely uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not comfortable when you're sitting there in silence. Like, I want to be like, are you there? Like, hello? Are we here? You like where do you got to be, buddy? But I've stayed 100% silent with every offer I make, and I've negotiated deals like this for years. And literally, the silence, what it's going to do is it lets them think. And instead of assuming for them that they're uncomfortable in that moment, or assuming for them that maybe they're not in agreement with the offer, any of it, I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. That's why the silence is the most important part there. Because what you do there is you take your insecurities in that moment, and now you're going to feed it back to them, right? Where it's like, look, I get you might want to fucking like throw me off a cliff right now. That offer fucking sucks. You hate it. I get it. But this is where we got to be. Like, that's not gonna, I mean, obviously it's working in this situation. You knew the seller, that's fucking great. But had you had stayed in silence right there and just let them respond, if you have a relationship with them already, right? You tell them where you got to be, just give them the respect to think about it. Like, let them respond, even if it's, they didn't respond yet, so stay in silence. Even if it's like, they still have not responded yet, so stay in silence. Because that gas could be them coming to terms with the reality that they need to accept this shit. But by me interjecting and saying anything to them is basically putting my shit into them. And I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. I'm not in their brain, right? I could know them. I could have worked with the seller for 6 months, and I've had it happen before, right? But by me staying in silence and letting them respond to the situation, if I have a relationship, if I have enough rapport, they're not hanging up on me. They're going to be like, Jordan, you still there? Right? Like, why would they just hang up when like you have a contract with them right now? You have a deal. You're negotiating the deal right now, right? So it's like by you just hanging up or by you not staying in silence, it's almost like I'm feeding something to them. Whereas if you just stayed there and let them respond, what if their response comes out as, dude, I can't do 40K, but could you do 35? And it's like, now we're in the fucking race. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
What is that? You peeing?
Clap. Yeah, no, listen, I hear what you're saying. But what I hear you're saying is that silence is a blind rule, and that's the way that it needs to be done always, no matter what. I wholly, fully, and will forever disagree with that in any subject, in any debate about anything. Life isn't black and white, right? That rule can't be true everywhere all the time. It's impossible. It's not reality. And I don't operate as a salesman with that immutable law as my foundation. It is a foundational principle of good sales, and I will 100% agree with you on that all day and twice on Sundays, right? But never split the difference. Our favorite negotiation book, Chris Voss, supports me in this debate by saying silence needs to be used with intent, combined with listening and rapport, not as a blind rule. In this instance, and I'm gonna be humble here, I'm not a dumb guy. I like to think I'm fairly intelligent enough to recognize when those moments are, not all the time. Of course, we're still learning and growing. Got a lot of growth to do. But in the past 5 years of being on the phones every day with sellers in wholesaling real estate, I feel like I have a decent gauge, not a perfect gauge, but a pretty good gauge based on previous conversations, especially in renegotiation calls, on when that silence is not going to benefit me in my sale. This was the time I recognized that. And to address that, I was assuming things for the seller. What if I had already been told, therefore negating the statement that it was an assumption? I already know. So I'm not assuming. What I did was, this is just.
So they told you they were going to throw you off a bridge?
No. I'm saying that they didn't like the offer. I already.
When did they say that, though?
In the previous calls where they told me there's no way they would come down on their price, but we couldn't get in the property because they had a better offer, yada, yada. Then we get in, no offer. There is no better offer. They're liars. There's holes in the roof. There's cretins and rodents living in the family room.
What did you just say, though?
What did I just say? Cretins, rodents, family room,
no.
Roof?
What did you just say right there? They are liars, right? So, like, one of the things I've learned with sales and basically wholesaling sales is what? Sellers are
liars.
Buyers are
worse.
And women are? No, I'm just joking.
Amazing, but every way.
The best. But basically, what you're doing there is like Yeah, you just said they told you on previous calls that they will never accept anything lower. Let me ask you this now, Jordan. Are they getting close to accepting something lower now?
Yeah, we're going to be having a conversation about 20K.
Okay. So therefore they are willing to accept something lower, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Did they throw you off a cliff?
Well, I'm in Utah, and they're in Texas, and they're old. I don't think they could, but I think they probably wanted to, yes.
So I completely agree with there's no black and white. Like I'm definitely open to that conversation. But I'd say kind of like what Hyro said over here, 95% silence. But there are cases, right? What I'd say for the cases are when they're just like, oh, like if they said some shit like that, yeah, you gotta fucking talk, right? Like there's times where it's like if they react somehow that's super negative, like yeah, at that point, do not sit there in silence anymore. They're gonna hang up on you, or you're gonna lose them on that at that point, right? But if they haven't said anything at all, like if you guys go back and listen to the call with Jordan, they didn't say anything. They didn't make a noise. Like literally radio silence what was where they were at as well. And one of the rules, I don't know if they say it in Never Split the Difference, but one of the rules is once you make an offer, the next one to speak is the one that loses, right?
Yeah.
So that's where that rule comes from. It's like, brother, they didn't say anything for you to assume that they fucking were negative, that they didn't like it, that they could have been sitting there looking at each other like, fuck, we got it. Like, I know we have to accept this. We need money. They could have had you on hold literally discussing the offer. You know what I mean? Like, but you don't know that because you're not sitting there with them. Had they had said anything, right, and it was super negative, you use that one liner that you use with like, look, I know you probably want to throw me off the fucking cliff right now. I get it. But like there's a reason why we have to be here. That's fair game right there. And that's when you don't stay in silence. But when it comes to fucking like they are in radio silence themselves, genuinely and maybe this is opinion, but I feel like if you stay in silence there with them and then let them say anything, that's how you're going to win that debate 10 out of 10 times.
So when you deliver an offer and you remain in silence, believe it or not, it's a sign of respect. We're in an industry where people are letting go of something they might be sentimental about. Maybe it was a childhood home. Maybe they spent decades with the love of their life in there, and they were married, or they brought their kids up there, whatever the case may be. Typically, not all, because we deal with investors too, or people that just don't give a shit about their properties. There's no emotional attachment. But a lot of the times there is. So it's almost like the way I look at it is this is most of the time, not all. So I'm in agreement with you, Joey. Most of the time, you got to like play tricks with yourself because it's uncomfortable for you, but it's actually respectful for them. That would be like you over talking or being obnoxiously loud at like a fucking funeral, right? It's just certain things you're not going to do. So when they have to make this life-changing decision,
and their biggest asset that they fucking own,
and they just got delivered some shit news, odds are it's going to take 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 seconds for them to formulate an answer.
Could take a minute and a half. It could take 3 minutes, right? I don't know their time frame. But if they don't say anything, I won't say anything. If they say something, right, it depends what they say. And that's when the 6 years, Jordan, of experience comes in. When they say something, that's when you have to determine as a salesman, do I respond right now or do I still stay in silence? So I've had times where they're just like, oh, no. It's like, whoa, hold well, we got to be here, and this is why. And then you have to go into the logic again. Right now, we're in the negotiation. They said no. But if they don't say anything in that moment, Lou Chipetti, my brother from Jersey, says, when you drop the offer on the table, first person who speaks loses 10 out of 10 times. No question. Sentimental can come after, but I need a reaction first to work with equals keeps control overall. That I agree with, and the reason I agree with it is because they didn't react yet. They did not react yet, right?
The reason you agree with it is because it supports your stance in this debate.
No shit, it does. Good looking, Lou.
However, how are you arguing with Chris Voss? Bring Chris Voss on this argument, on this debate. Chris Voss says, I see merit on both sides. I think Jordan's right in some instances and Joey's right in some instances. 10 times out of 10, that means it's an immutable law. I don't subscribe to immutable laws anywhere except for one. What is the one immutable law of humanity, of life? It is death, not even taxes, because sometimes you can get around taxes. You can't get around death. The only thing that happens 10 times out of 10 times is that people die after they're born at some point. Everything else that happens in anybody's reality, 100%, 10 out of 10, no, sir. Don't subscribe to it. Disagree with you, Lou. Very much respect to you. Joey likes it because it helps him in this debate. All I'm saying is, even if it's 90% of the time we use silence and we don't say anything, I could subscribe to that. That means 9 out of 10. That's fair.
Yeah.
One time is what happened on my call, and I think it was used appropriately, and it's working. And Rita, to answer your question, current status is we're at 40K. I spent 40 minutes on the phone with the buyer who went and walked it yesterday, broke 2 doors down, found hoarders in the other rooms that we didn't have access to. So we're at 40K. They're chewing on that. I'm going to call them and tell them they need to be at 15K cash, or we'll do a promissory note. They'll get 22K. When my buyer closes on his flip after the project, we get paid our assignment fee at closing table in February, and everybody wins potentially in that situation. Now, that conversation is go something like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is a condemnable property. People have been in here now. It'll be condemned. And what's going to happen, what I learned, if you don't accept these offers and it does get condemned, you're going to have to pay the city to tear that thing down. So you could either take some money and get a win, or you could pay some money and lose your asset. And so, Rita, we're still negotiating. But I got them from 75 down to 40 to 50 on the first call that I went live on. And listen, to Lou and to anybody else, I did use silence also. I used a combination on this call. I did stay silent for about 12 to 15 seconds after I made my offer. I'm not sitting on there for 60 minutes in this case, based on how my previous conversations have gone with this couple. They've not gone well. It's been a lot of fighting, not negative fighting, but it's been a lot of me really having to build trust with them. And I didn't justify. I just said, listen, I already know we've been talking, and yeah, I know you're probably going to want to throw me off a cliff, but don't, because I'm your solution here. Let's work together to figure this out so we can make it worthwhile for you as well as for my team and I. You know what I mean?
Justification.
Look up the term right now. Put the definition on the screen.
So I asked Chat the same thing that you asked Chat with Chris Voss.
Of course,
silence is pressure. Well, I mean, that's where you got it too, brother. So I mean, I'm gonna at least ask it.
No, we decided
silence is pressure, not awkwardness. Most people feel a rush to fill it, and that's exactly why it works. Voss's core idea: whoever talks first after a strong statement usually gives up leverage. That's why I'm saying, like, if they didn't say anything, you are giving up the leverage there.
But you when always, or
you could have had them signed at the price reduction on that call instead of justifying it after you had made the offer, or it doubling down, whatever the fuck we want to call it. Same shit.
Always or usually?
What do you mean?
I mean, you read it. Did it say always gives up leverage or usually
It says usually gives up leverage 100%.
So maybe 8 to 9 times out of 10.
If we play the full call, I want to hear what their response was after that. And typically, so put it this way: if it usually gives up leverage, does it mean yet again? There's no black and white in life other than death and taxes, right? So we can agree on that. However, if something's 90% effective, I'm going to use it 100% of the time. Versus if something's fucking like, if I know that in a debate or in a fucking negotiation that I want to get my way, and I know that's going to be more effective than speaking, I'm going to shut the fuck up until they say something. What's the worst case scenario here, Jordan? Like, tell me the worst case scenario, because this is usually how I go about making my decisions. My decisions are typically made off of the worst case scenario. What is it? You have the contract with them. You are their only hope. Maybe they hang up on you on this call. Are they gone forever? I don't think so.
Worst case scenario, nobody shows up at title for closing. Nobody can force a human being.
Yeah, that sucks. You can't control that, though.
Worst case scenario is the worst case scenario. So worst case, they hang up. They never answer my call again or anybody from my team. And they say, you know what, Jordan, file the memo. We'll let this thing get condemned. I don't give a shit at this point.
Because you were silent?
Closing. You're asking me what the worst case scenario is. I'm answering that question.
No, I'm asking from you being silent. I'm not talking about the deal in general. I'm talking about from you being silent.
100%. I hit them with an offer they hate. I don't say anything. Click. Never speak to them again. That is the worst case scenario. That is a possibility. That could happen. You can't tell me it can't. Or it wouldn't.
I don't think I've ever had silence in my 10 years of being in sales, ever have a prospect never call me again because of silence.
No.
I've had listen. I've had prospects not answer my calls again because of my low offer, right? But speaking after that low offer didn't do shit. They still didn't call me back, right? But silence, I don't think is the catalyst that's going to make a prospect not answer me. However, or not ever answer me again.
It could. You just asked me what is the worst case scenario. I answered that question, and then you defended that.
Has it ever happened to you?
It hasn't yet, but could it?
Ross, has it ever happened to you?
What is the worst case scenario?
Have a prospect hang up
and never call you back and never speak to you again because you use silence as that being the reason
I've had them hang up and I've called them back and they've been upset and hung up again. And then in a couple days, because they're in a state of denial and they're in a state of typically, whether it's anger, just being sad about it, or just honestly having a little bit of a mental breakdown and they can't keep their shit together on the call. Yeah. As far as never talking to him again, no. I mean, from that point forward, they either just kind of lay on the sword and they're like, fuck it, just send over the reduction or we cancel.
Yep.
So,
and is there anything that you could have done in those moments typically to get the deal done at that point? Like silence, not silence, any rule of negotiation at that point? Would you say that there's just some people that aren't closable at a lower number sometimes?
Some people, like, if I start hearing like sighs or like, you know, and they're still silent, I'll kind of like do the hand on the shoulder, like, I know it sucks, but that's not what you wanted to hear.
And then would you go silent again, or would you
continue
to double down?
I would go silent again for a little bit, let them process it, and then I mean, and then I would say like, and this is the only way we're going to make this work. And I'd hate to overpromise and underdeliver, because where we're at right now, I can confidently say this will never close
That's a double down.
For us or any investor. So it depends on the seller. I would say 9 out of every 10 sellers, I'm using silence. People that are highly emotional or need the hand on the shoulder, every once in a while, I will double down and explain the why, and that's worked too.
What makes you know that they need the hand on the shoulder in that moment?
Noises they make, or they're like, huh. It catches them
Thank
off.
you.
Let me ask you though, however, if
Catches
you're a person that is never silent, never quiet, every time you've spoken to them on the phone, let's call it in the past 7 days, you've been on the phone with them for 3 hours, there hasn't been a moment of silence from their end of the phone. Rather, they're over talking you the whole conversation. And then you have this offer call and they don't say anything for 15 straight seconds. That is a sigh, brother, without sighing. I don't need to audibly hear a noise come out of their human body.
That's an assumption.
No, it's not.
That's an assumption. Yes,
that is
100%.
intelligent recognition of emotion on the other side of the phone with the human being I'm dealing with. You can
How do you know?
You want. That's what.
How do you know?
I agree. I do agree more with Joey on the assumption, because every time when there's one thing that you can't do, even if you are an expert in psychology, you will never know the other person's thoughts or their impending thoughts. And anytime you interrupt or throw in anything, you're disturbing them, or you're shooting yourself in the foot. So again, 9 times out of 10, silence is golden. They say silence is golden for a reason, or God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
To shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Or the first person to speak in a negotiation after a firm command, meaning an offer has been stated, loses. It's all true. But to say this 100% of the time works is absolutely dumb.
Nothing.
To say that I stick to this every time, odds are going to be in your favor with the percentages, which I think is about 9 out of every 10 times. Odds are going to work in your favor. If that was the only tactic you used, life would be good to you. You get a lot of contracts. Over assuming that I should jump in, you're going to get less contracts for sure.
And let me say one more thing. So every single time that you were on the phone with them before, right? Why were they jumping down your throat?
Because they didn't want me to get inside their property.
Okay, but why were they jumping down your throat? I get they did, like that's the situation, correct? But I'm talking about, like, let's go deeper into the situation. Why were they responding by jumping down your throat?
For me to answer that question, my brother, would be for me to make an assumption. I don't know what the fuck they have going on. Yeah.
What were they not getting? What did they want? What did they want when you were in that situation?
They wanted me to buy their house without walking inside of it.
What were you trying to get?
Access.
Exactly. So they had something that they didn't want. And how did they voice that to you?
By saying as much. They didn't want me
to. So what if we looked at it from this perspective, right? Every time that they disagreed with you, they jumped down your fucking throat. What if this was the one time that they finally had reality set in and they saw those fucking pictures? Because maybe they never went to that fucking house in the last 10 years. That's a very real, I don't know the whole situation, but maybe they did go to the house, maybe they didn't, correct? But what if reality was finally setting in for them and there was no objection in that moment, right? And that's why they were silent. Are we assuming for them right here? 100%, right? With what I'm saying. But think about it. If you're going off your logic, which is fucking, you know the seller, right? And you know how they react, and you have a relationship with them. And every time that they disagree with you, they tell you they disagree with you. So if they disagreed with you at this number that you're coming in at, why would they not say it in that moment too? If they've never been silent with you the entire relationship, and this is the one time that they're silent, I guarantee you, I could put money on it that silence, had you had stayed silent right there, they would have told you exactly what they were thinking. Because if they jumped down your throat every time before then, and now they're finally fucking quiet, I don't know, guys. But to me, typically that's them coming to terms with fucking reality. And you got to stay in silence there, and that's when the silence works the best out of anybody.
Yeah, sometimes it's a way of them coming to terms or almost admitting defeat when they do that. It's like people get upset in life because of expectations. That's what it comes down to. Expectations are most people's worst enemy, whether they know it or not. As soon as you start setting whether verbalizing your expectations or thinking your expectations, and us being not good enough closers to pull those expectations out of them, expectations crush everybody's soul. So when what they did was go on Zillow or this and that, they had these expectations, but at the same time, they're still hiding something when they're refusing to provide access. I feel it's our duty and obligation. As soon as someone says that to me, I typically say, that's very fair, and I can appreciate where you're coming from. Although you don't want to give us access, it is mandatory in our system that we're going to consider this a full gut job or tear down. So that is the offer that we're going to have to deliver, and we're going to be very firm on that number. Now, do you want that offer, or do you want the best offer?
I like that.
No, that's good.
Right there.
What if you're already under contract at a certain price because of blatant dishonesty?
Okay.
And they said, brother, I was told this was a livable property that needed a mid-level rehab. There's been holes in the roof for 5 to 10 years. It's been raining in there. There's families of rodents that inhabit. It is habitable, just not for humans, unless you want to pitch a tent.
Cockroaches can
in the
go
living room, right? Roaches, termites, all of it. But they just straight up lied to our team. So I understand that perspective, Ross, and I actually really like that approach. It was just hard for me to do that in the situation that, full disclosure, we allowed ourselves to get in by not getting access. And that is the conversation that was had with the sellers. Listen, it is mandated. I have to get in the property. It's non-negotiable. Otherwise, we just can't close. We can't help you with the sale of this home if we can't see what's going on in there, unless we make a sight unseen or full tear down offer, which is going to look something like $20,000. And this all happened over 4 or 5 phone calls and quite a decent amount of time working them in that way to get them to finally give us access. And they full knew what was going on in there. And it's like, I think what you said, Ross, I typed a note so I didn't forget. Like that silence, you said maybe it was them admitting defeat, right? They were realizing this is that moment. I'm sauced here. How do I respond now that I know that I got to wave the white flag? What I did was I said, yes, Mrs. Seller, this is your defeat. And while you admit it, I'm going to make it feel less shitty for you. I cracked a little joke, made her smile a little bit. So now she's smiling through the defeat. She's still waving the white flag, but I'm still her friend at the end of that. And instead of moving towards the close with vileness towards me, we're going to do that as friends because I maintained the rapport through emotional connection, through something I'm personally good at, which is using humor to diffuse high tension moments.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to, like, you'd probably have to listen to the call itself. But yeah, sometimes you need to assist people because they have so much pride, or they just got caught in a lie. And everybody, the ego gets involved and they want to save face. So if you can coach them through that and be like, hey, this is not in your control. This is not in my control. We had a discussion, but this is the matter of fact information, and a picture tells 1,000 words, and we have to go off of that. It's not your fault. It's not our, like, this is just what it is right now.
Yep.
But let them tell you it is my thing. And that's where we're getting back into the, is silence going to be the best there? Nothing, as we said from the beginning of the debate, is going to be 100% perfect, right?
Yeah.
But had you had just stayed in silence right there in that moment and just let them respond, they're going to tell you what needs to get said from there, right? Like they're going to fucking give you the sauce and then you know exactly how to react from there. This one went good in your favor, right? Like you're still negotiating with them. You're probably going to close the fucking deal, make a little assignment fee. That's fucking fire, right? But if we use the same rules, let's put it this way: you're coaching a team there right now, right? You're building a team.
Yep.
How do you want your team to do in these situations? Do you want them? You need simplicity when you scale a business.
Mm-hmm.
You need black and white.
Mm-hmm.
If you have fucking, you need to use silence, but you also got to feel it out. You know what that does for? Let's say you hire a new acquisitions guy or a new dispo guy. It's going to confuse them. And now they're going to overthink every time that they're on a call, where if you have a process that it is black and white, which is like you make the offer, you shut the fuck up. I don't care what it is. Because it's 90% accurate, right? Maybe not 100%. This might be the 10% in between, but it's 90% accurate. So me being a coach, having the community, me being a coach with my team, I'm going to be uniform. I'm going to be black and white. And that's how you're going to raise the best team. Because if you don't have that simplicity, if it's what happened with certain coaches that me and you have had in the past, where it wasn't black and white, right? Where it is up to debate in every situation. When it's up to debate in every situation and we're not going with black and white rules as a scalable business or as a business I'm trying to scale, bro, my team's going to be fucking confused. The new people are going to be fucking confused. And they're not going to be able to make the right decisions in the right moment. But if they have a blueprint on every single call, and it's like they have the script, they know to use silence at this moment, and we know that is at least 90% effective, they should be using that 100% of the time instead of me being like, oh, well, there's times where you don't use silence, actually. And then they're like, well, when? It's like, well, when you feel it. It's like,
yeah. No, I hear that.
what the fuck do you mean when I feel it? Like, that doesn't make any sense because we have our experience, right? But to scale a business, the majority of people, like Ross, what is my favorite type of person to hire on my team?
Your favorite type of person?
Yes.
I don't know. You love everything.
With a shit ton of experience or with no experience?
Nada.
No experience. You want to mold them, shape them, and turn them into a beast. So the less bad habits they have, the better.
Exactly. And then they're coachable, right? But if I have someone that's learning from me, and Jordan, you as you're being the leader and growing your team right now is fucking, you need a united front with everyone that walks in that door. It needs to be not like this could be up to debate where sometimes you use silence, sometimes you don't. It needs to be from, no. Every time you make an offer, you use fucking silence. Tim, when you're negotiating with the buyer and they give you and you give them where you have to be, shut up. You don't say a thing. And that's going to make your business make more money consistently than putting a seed in their head that there are times where it's not okay. Yeah. And that's why for me, it's like, I can drop my ego, right? And be like, look, you're right. There are times where fucking maybe it can work differently, right? I can agree with that. I can say that because it's working right now, right? However, 90% of people that I'm going to encounter, maybe even 99% of people that I encounter, this could be, I genuinely agree that silence isn't powerful to 99%. That's why in ChatGPT with fucking whatever our boy is, it says usually. Doesn't say all the time, but it says usually. Which means most people react to that.
Okay.
Usually could be 80%. Just saying. Definitions. Get a dictionary. Love you. Anyways, what's up, bro?
But now we're back in black and white.
I'm going to put the kibosh on this because obviously both of you are correct. Like nothing should be set in stone. But as business operators, we do need to think about scale. When you give people options, options lead to confusion. When you eliminate all options, it makes their life easier, and human beings always go to the path of least resistance. How can I make this the easiest for myself? So in the business world, this has been thrown around for people. We are always thinking in bets. We are literally always thinking in bets. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is end all be all. So when we're thinking in bets, we have to go by probabilities. In the business world, if you have 51% of the information, you should
Make the decision.
lean towards yes. Some have debated that if I have 60% of the information, like billionaires, like think when they're yes or no, when they make that decision, think about how much that fucking affects a company, right? So that's 51 and 60%. So if you have something that we can agree on, that's probably in the likelihood of 90+% effective.
Even 80.
Even 80. Yeah.
Go with Jordan's numbers. Let's go with 80.
Even 80, right? If I think it's more like 90, 95. If we can agree that it's at 90, 95, and this is coming from a 30,000 foot view as a business owner and what would work to train and scale an operation, I would coach people to deliver the offer and shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I'm going to interject. I'm going to rest my case with this. Yeah, listen, scaling purposes, building a team, training new hires, teaching people how to be salespeople, 100% shut the fuck up. That's what will be taught. That is what's being taught in my business currently. The difference is it wasn't my team on the phone. That was me on the phone. That was my call. I'm not the newbie, and I'm not perfect. So Joey's going to jump down my throat and call this ego, and I'm uncoachable. I'm not. No. I just recognized in that moment what needed to be done, so I did it. I do subscribe fully 9 times out of 10. I'm not doing that on that call, and in that moment after an offer, my team will be taught to just stay silent after every offer 100%, because what Ross said, that's analytical. This is statistics. If I'm going to be successful doing that 90% of the time, let's do that 100% of the time. If someone's on my team for 6 years and they're doing 6 deals a month on average, and I listen to a call in year 6 and I hear this, I am personally not jumping down my salesperson's throat, because I recognize there is going to be 1 out of 10 where it's necessary. If I feel you have enough experience to judge that appropriately, it's not a perfect system. I give you the license and the freedom to make that call. And you're going to fuck it up sometimes. Maybe I would have fucked it up this time. I took that risk because I recognized an opportunity to take the 1 out of 10, and that's it. I'm going to hang my hat on. Fuck black and white, unless we're scaling. 9 times out of 10, silence works. 1 time out of 10, an interjection is powerful. This was my 1 time out of 10. I rest my case. We're both right. Love you both.
All right, so now let me bring this home. I want to talk about leadership for a second, because you said something very interesting there. My team's going to have to do it, right? But I don't have to do it. I am very firm on a leadership thing, which is my team's going to follow what I do. If I go smoke weed every single weekend and go drink every single weekend, what's my team probably going to be fucking doing? If I go fucking not smoke weed every weekend, and I go on a hike every weekend and go in nature, and fucking everyone around me is seeing what I'm doing, they're going to eventually follow it. It's how it goes. So you cannot be the exception. When you are the exception, that's an ego thing. That is a but I'm better than you thing, right? It's like, why?
No.
It needs to be a united front when you have a team that's following you, because that's what it is. If you have a team that believes in you and you tell them that you are not going to fucking worry about this, you are going to stay in silence, and then they go and watch your replays And they are the ones that are looking at you and what you're doing, and they're gonna mimic what you're doing. It's like children sometimes. It's the same shit. If I go fucking fart in my kid's face, my kid's probably gonna fucking go fart in some other kid's face, right? So it's like it's very similar to having a team or building a business where I promise you, they will see what you're doing. They're looking at everything that you're doing.
Yeah,
Trust me.
I got questions.
And what happened?
I got questions about that.
Okay, let me finish.
Hmm.
So if you, as the closer, are not following your process to a T, why would they? If you have exceptions to yourself, they're going to think that they need to make exceptions as well. Even if you can, it's like, I can tell you one thing, but I can do another thing. They're not going to follow just what you say. They're going to follow what you do. And
Yeah.
that's just a fact. And that's just human nature there. So let's hear what your questions are now, buddy.
I'll touch on that because I fully and 1000% subscribe to, as a parent, got 3 kids. You don't get to say, do as I say, not as I do. Kids
That's
are going to
bullshit.
do as you do, period. That's how it works. I do agree and subscribe. That's human nature. My question, as I'm hearing you say this about leadership, though,
Mhm.
I never ever at any point think I'm any better or any worse than anybody else in the planet. I'm humble in that sense.
Okay.
What I do recognize though is in some areas of life I might have more experience than other people, right? If you have a baby, in 9 months you're going to have a newborn. It is perfectly okay for us to have conversations as brothers where we recognize I have more experience as a father than you do,
Well,
right?
100%.
So, where I'm going with this is something arises with your kid, and I got the answer. I know what to do here. I can step in and provide that answer because I have the experience to do it. Right. That doesn't mean I'm not following my process. So, my question to you when I'm hearing you say that is in your business, personally, specifically, when
Yes.
your team comes to an impasse, they cannot get through with a buyer or a seller. Why do you step in and push past the impasse and get the goal accomplished? It's not because you're better than them. And that's not the
No,
message.
it's experience.
That's it, brother. So when they listen to my lives and they hear me do that 1 time out of 10, but every 9 other streams, I am using silence as my main tool. We are communicative. It's all transparent on my team. They're going to ask me, what the fuck was that about? And I'm going to tell them straight up. That was a moment where I actually recognized that in this negotiation, silence wasn't going to benefit me here. That's not to say you have to do this and I'm better, so I get to do this. It's
No,
not.
I'm not saying it's an ego thing on that level. What I'm saying is if like by you not following the process to a T and you switching up in that moment, what's going to happen with them is now they are thinking about that.
Sure. That's
And
fine.
because they're thinking about that, it's not fine. And the reason why it's not fine is because now you're creating confusion in the business. And
So,
when you have a team where everybody knows the process,
mm,
like McDonald's,
mm,
right? Like, why is McDonald's so successful as a franchise?
I
It's
think
because they have a manual where, why is it that every burger that you go to, you could go to a McDonald's and fucking, obviously countries, it might change a little bit because the meats, like the cows are different here, the whole nine. But in the United States, I could go to McDonald's in fucking California, I could go to McDonald's in Texas, I could go to McDonald's in fucking Tennessee, and the burger is going to taste identical no matter where the fuck I go, right? At least 99% of it. Maybe there's that one fucking idiot that didn't follow the script, right? But that is the exact reason why McDonald's is such a franchisable business. It's because they have a manual and everyone has to follow it, and that there is no exceptions to it. So it's the same thing with us as we're trying to scale a business. If 1 out of every 10 times is up for debate and it's not, no, this is the way it has to be, now your team starts thinking and questioning, right? And when that happens, what happens when the new guy comes in? And then your team starts following what you're doing, right? So maybe 1 out of 10 times they don't stay in silence with the sellers. And then you're teaching a new guy that's like, yo, you need to stay in silence with the sellers. And then they get on a call and someone else on the team is not staying in silence with the sellers. You now no longer have a uniform front. And now your business is actually less scalable. Because now what you're having to do is you have people on the team that are confused instead of people on the team that like this is why I love hiring new people. I can take anybody that has a good attitude, that is coachable and available, pull them into the business, and within a month to 2 months get them paid like clockwork. And it's been going like that for a pretty long time now. And the reason that that's a thing is because I have a process and you have to follow it. And when you follow it, you're going to make money. You know what I mean? And if I start budging on the process, right? I get on a call and I don't fucking stay in silence. I'm going to call myself out and be like, guys, I fucked that up. Do not do that. That is not okay. Like I'm not perfect. I got to get better all the fucking time, right? Like you're not perfect either, Jordan, right? No. But if I make it okay to not follow the process, now that starts going into your team. And think about it. All it takes is a little bit of questioning you or the process or anything for negativity to set in, for them to lose trust in the process. And now that could trickle into other things in the process that you're trying to build. But if you do what you say they need to do, and there's that uniform front, now when you bring people in, they're going to follow that process through and through. And then there's going to be a culture built of following the process. And then when you have that culture built of following the process, when you're not around, they're going to enforce what you need to do, which is enforcing that process, right? And when you can have other people do that, because you're only one person, brother, like we're scaling a wholesale business right now, both of us. So to scale the business, there's be times where you're not around. And if your team is supporting you and the process, and they know this is the way it has to go every single time, everyone's going to fight for that in a good way. And now your business is going to scale so much easier than having any bit of debate of, oh, well, it's 1 out of every 10 times it might not fucking work. Or like, I got to not use silence. Then it's like, bro, now they have to think every single time. Is this the 1 out of 10 times? Right? And that confusion is going to basically get into their minds as a salesperson and lose confidence. When you have them just fucking every time, this is the way it's going to go, and it just stays like that, brother, that is how you scale a fucking business. That's how you have the most success as a leader, by you doing what you preach every single time. So
leadership,
I'll digress at that.
Is black and white. And what I should have done in this case is lost this deal, lost the revenue for my team and my business to prove the point that we do everything black and white. This is an immutable law. There's never any room for exception, regardless of experience.
I don't think you were going to lose the deal. I think that was in your mind because they didn't say anything. Had they said something, had they had done what they had done on every single other time when they disagreed with you, then yeah, you're right. If they were arguing with you, no shit, you got to say that. But they didn't argue with you. They didn't say anything. All that they did was sit in silence, which was completely opposite of every other response you had from them. So I do say you stay with that rule, even you as a closer, me as a closer. Because if it's 90% effective, it's usually going to work 100% of the fucking time.
Math, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if they go negative, as a good salesperson, you can come back from that. That's a fact. So you just need to have a united front with you being the leader, being up here on these lives so that they can stay in it and they can follow it. That's how we build a scalable business. And if you lose one deal, it's one fucking deal. I'd rather lose one deal and get 40 more by having a team have a uniform front than be like, I can't lose this deal. I'm going to go, all bets are off the table. I'm going to switch up my process now. And now my team's going to lose trust in me. And now I could lose fucking 40 deals. That's why, yes, 100% I would lose that deal in that moment. Yes. I don't think that's my ego speaking.
So listening into this, both of your perspectives, it's funny, on both of these debates are coming from wildly different places. That's what it comes down to. Where Joey's coming from is he wants to scale at mass, and he wants to be one of those wholesaling operations that has, I mean, he's comparing it to McDonald's. So he wants to have a team where he might want to have 60, 80, 100 deals at a time, maybe.
Possibly.
Right?
No, I could see it happening. 100%.
Well, that's where it's kind of coming from based off what you're saying. Where Jordan's coming from is a smaller operation where there's some humility coming to play. Where he's saying there are exceptions. There's exceptions to everything. Now, if he explains to his team 99.99% of the time, stay in silence. But if they're huffing and puffing, making a weird sound, or you can hear that they might be having a nervous breakdown or something like that, and you need to guide them, or there's confusion that you are insanely sensing, then jump in and justify. But other than that, that's like so rare. That is the anomaly. This is how we do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's how I would explain to my team. It would be right in the middle, leaning more so on what Joey's saying. And I always say there's exceptions because there are sellers that still to this day, you think you've heard it all, seen it all. And some will still throw you for some sort of loop. And you have to act as best you can with essentially the information you have at that moment in time and make your most educated decision at that moment in time. And sometimes it might be a little bit off from what you normally do.
100%.
But if you explain that to your team, do this
100% of the time.
Do this or do your best and forget the rest.
That's it. And I think that's fair. That I can agree with too, Ross, for a fact. Because that's completely fair. Like, look, I'm not the type of person that it's like, I'm a perfectionist, right? I'm going to correct people. But correcting people is not bad. It's like,
where is your perfectionism coming from?
Right.
It's coming from following the process, because anytime I've ever had someone that got out of the process, right? They didn't have success. Whenever I had someone that did straight line follow the process, like Jordan Belfort talked to fucking that giant ass call center that he had, it fucking works. And look, no one's gonna be perfect. That's why when I like correct my team, or I correct Jordan, or I correct you guys, I'm not like yelling at you and I'm like, Jordan, you suck. What the fuck was that? Like, no, bro, that's not the way to manage anybody or try to train anybody, right? But I still am a strong believer that when you see something like that call and you hear where he could have done better, I'm going to critique it 100% of the time. And my team typically does not get even remotely upset when I critique them. That's the beauty of the team and the culture that we're building, because we're building a culture of growth every single day.
Yeah. If you have a team that's giving you constant pushback.
Yeah, if Jordan was on my team in this debate, oh my God, I would be done.
So let me ask you this. This is my opinion in the matter, because I think now more than ever, people are detecting scripts, and then you have AI. And because of all the technology, the amount of calls, the amount of scripts out there, I think using a script is great, but sales frameworks are more real. And when people can sense you are real and you are a straight shooter, people buy you at the end of the day. So they're not they won't even ask you what your business name is, and they won't frankly give a fuck.
No.
because they're selling their house to Jordan or Joey or Ross. It has nothing to do about our companies. So I think at the same time, sales frameworks, because of how many different personality profiles we're hitting, right? We're dealing with people that can take this conversation the train is derailed and then back on the track, derailed again. But
That's a straight line system.
if
right
we have
there.
if we have a framework, we're good to go. And if you were to the most important parts of it, I think you should have systemized.
So what I've seen from the framework to a script is Jordan, for example. How long did it take Corey to get a contract on his first day back?
2 days, 3 days.
First call?
First full conversation he had with a scheduled seller. Yeah, he locked it up first call.
Did he follow the script?
Yeah, pretty much.
So I think it depends on the script, Ross. Because there are scripts that are just like, dude, what the fuck is this? Like, this is so wordy, right? And then there's scripts like the one that we've built, which is, in my opinion, it's a script, but it is kind of a framework. The only part of the entire script that is scripted, that is like, this guy's obviously reading something or fucking saying something that he's memorized, is the way our process works is I'm going to ask you a couple questions about the property. Once I have all the information I need, I'm going to get you an offer on this call. That part, right? But the rest of the script is literally questions, right? And they're written in a specific place. And then the straight line sales system says, like, when you're fucking, the straight line's right here, this is the script, right? They're going to come up here. They're going to go down here. Mm-hmm. It's my job to go up here with them and then pull them back into the script, right? Because when I can have that control of the call, I'm going to get everything answered I need. I'm going to get them the offer. I'm going to get rapport with them. I'm going to get a relationship with them, right? Like the rapport section, you can't script that. That is a framework, right? It's the only part of script is what's the reason you're looking to sell your property? And then from there, you have to go off the cuff. Like you cannot script that. I'm sorry, you can't. It's just not possible. Like I got to ask open-ended questions. I can give you 100 open-ended questions to pick from, and that's fair. But it's not, that part's not scripted, right? So I agree in that sense that.
But going off the cuff, I believe is earned when you have the script dialed in. Then you can kind of, because you know where it's going, you know where you're at, you know where you fell off.
But it always has to come back to here.
But you
right?
know when to pull them back in.
It always has to go back to here. That's the part of having the script.
Is basically the alphabet, right? You got to have an alphabet before you can form words. And then when you have a seller that's all the fuck over the place, that's when you can start building words, right? Because you have the alphabet, which is the script, and the framework dialed in. Now we can get more advanced with our vocabulary and start piecing this together to finally get a sentence.
But still, every single call still needs to have that framework in that order, no matter what.
Right.
But I agree bro, even my new people, I want to go into whatever they're talking into, right? I don't want them to be a robot and it's like, well, what are you offering? And it's like, well, what price are you looking to get? No, I'm going to get you an offer by the end of the call. What price are you looking to get? That's not in the script, right? But we're pulling you back down to that straight line every single time. And I've noticed with scalability and just, I mean, look, whether I'm going to build a 100-person team or have a 10-person team, I still have no idea where that's going to be at this point, right? Because fucking, you got a big ass team, there's a lot of people to manage, there's a lot of deals to manage, there's a lot of stress that comes with it. You don't need that in this business. That's what we've uncovered very recently, at least for my business. However, when I have a team and we have a process and everybody knows that process and everybody follows that process to a T, and then that process is what can get corrected. Now, as a business that has 20 deals on the board, right? And I see something that's fucked up. Like before we had property information was not in the right place or property access was not in the right place. I'm on the phone with the buyer, property access isn't there. That had to get corrected, right? Like Prisca, where is the property access? She put it in the right place now. Now we're good. And it's like, now I can have something to hold people accountable to. So the one funny thing that Rita said is I love how Jordan's a laid back boss. The reason I was laughing about this is because me and Jordan were speaking last night. I think it was last night or 2 nights ago about this. And you can't be afraid to hold your team accountable. And I think that's a common misconception that a lot of people think is like, oh, I'm just going to go work for the laid back boss. But Jordan, honesty hour for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What has being the laid back boss done or gotten you up until that call that we had on fucking 2 days ago?
Before I answer that question, Rita, first of all, thanks for that comment. Now we got to talk about this. Second of all, I need to ask a question before I answer that question.
Yes.
Is it possible to be laid back while still holding people to the highest standards and holding them accountable?
I feel like that is basically how I am, because I talk about when I take mushrooms. I talk about when I quit weed. I talk about when I fall off the wagon and I smoke weed. That would be, to a lot of people, a fucking laid back boss, right? Where it's like, you can be honest with me and real with me and we can talk about a lot of shit. But if you fuck up, I'm going to tell you where you fucked up and we're going to fix it together. Yes. And me telling you that you fucked up, this is the issue that I've noticed with business and fucking most people. It's literally that they want the laid back boss. They don't want to be held accountable. But if you look at the most elite operations, whether they're a 4-person operation or a 40-person operation, the one thing that needs to get done is you need to be able to be held accountable. When you aren't able to be held accountable, Jordan, if you were on my acquisitions team, right, and your goal is 5 offers a day, and you don't hit 5 offers a day for a week, we're going to have a conversation about it and figure out why that hasn't been happening, right? And then when we can, hold on. Oh, wait, 1 second. Give me 30 seconds. 30 seconds, sorry.
Well, Joey takes 30 seconds. The point that I know he's getting to, I'll just get there for him, is you can't be successful being the laid-back boss if you're unwilling to hold your team accountable. This is what we've been talking about a lot, Joey and I.
Talking through it.
Yeah, just something I got to work on. Listen, I do tend to err on the side of not holding people accountable enough. I had a breakthrough the other day. We were talking about this. I'm not like this in my home with my children. I hold my kids probably more accountable than a large percentage of parents in America. So much so that, I know there's times my kids go in their rooms and do the whole, oh, you, Dad, man, you're a hard ass, but it's not. It's just because I love you and I want to see you succeed, and I know you can. So you're going to be held to this standard because I also know your potential is above that standard and we can do it. One thing that I'm learning, and as I'm scaling and building teams, is I also have to hold my team equally as accountable, as well as myself as equally accountable, right? But I think I'm trying to learn how I can do both, how I can still be considered laid back while being like, yo, you didn't hit your numbers today. Why? How can we get better tomorrow? How can I help you hit your numbers tomorrow? Let's set that goal. Let's make it happen. If it continues not being hit, right now we got to have a different conversation. That's an uncomfortable conversation, but a necessary one, right? So
let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Why does accountability mean that you're not laid back?
I don't think it does. I think that's the general perception, however.
That is. And that's where most people are wrong. That's why 99% of people are broke and fucking 1% is rich. That is it right there. It's that they want the laid back boss. Why? Why do they want the laid back boss, Jordan? You know?
So they can be lazy and take it easy.
Yes. So that they can work under the standards and they can slide by and hopefully think they're going to get rich by doing it, right? Because everybody wants to get rich. Everybody does. But when you show them the bill of work that they have to do to actually get there, they would never be able or willing to do it. And that's the reality. And it's funny because everyone calls you the laid back boss now, right? I used to be the fucking laid back boss. Somehow along the fucking the time, because I'm direct now and I'm honest and I fucking hold people to the fire, I'm not the laid back boss anymore. But the one thing I'd say, and Jordan or Rita said at the end, your employees will love you by being the laid back boss. I say that's bullshit. They will actually love you more when you hold them to the fire. Because the one thing, if you go and did a poll, silent poll, where my teammates did not have to put down their names and then wrote what is their perception of Joey, I could promise you they fucking, unless this is me being an egotistical prick, they do love me. We all have good relationships on my team. And I hold them to the fire every single day. When someone fucks up, I'm like, yo, what are we doing here? And then we fix it. But when someone wants the laid back boss, it means that they just aren't willing or ready to be held accountable, and they should not be on your team at all. Like, it's funny. We were having this debate with Prisco one time, my transaction coordinator, and it wasn't a debate at all. Actually, we were having this conversation, and I was saying, like, guys, like, why is it that when I hold someone accountable, it's like a negative? Like, why is that a bad thing? And she's like, what do you mean? Why is that a bad thing? That's not a bad thing. That's what it should be, right? And I'm like, I mean, thank you. Someone fucking sees it. But that's the mentality that I want to be around all the fucking time. It's like, dude, tell me where I fucked up. I'm okay fucking up because then I can get better. But if you're not, this comes into like ego and coachability and all of it. If I'm just looking for the laid back boss, that's probably because I can't be held accountable and I'm not coachable and I haven't done the self-work yet to be able to admit that I'm wrong. And if I can't admit that I'm wrong, fuck, bro, you're not growing. I'll read you guys a quote from the book I read Jordan the other day. Hold on. Hold on. Only the mediocre die always at their best. Real leaders are always improving and raising their bar in how superbly they can perform and how quickly they can move. So if I'm at my best and I can't be held accountable, then I'm done. I just stop growing. I'm not leading anymore. So I don't know. That shit, it's funny because people always say like, oh, Jordan's the laid back boss, whatever. It's like, that's something that when me and Jordan were having the conversation the other day, I literally said you need to change that. Because when you are able in real time, someone fucks something up and you fix it, that's the definition of turning your business into a success. Think about it, Jordan, like property access. We have one spot in the CRM that property access goes every single time, right? If it's not in there, I know exactly whose job it is to put it in there, and I will hold them accountable every time it's not in there. Same thing with property photos, same thing with the property text, same thing with where everything goes in the CRM, right? And think about it. If I don't fix that, and it's going in all these different places, what did that just create again? Confusion. And when I have fucking confusion and chaos, how the fuck is my business functioning? Like, we all know, Jordan, does closing one deal a month, is that going to get you where you want to be in life? How many deals would you say you have to close a month to get you to where you want to be in life?
To where I want to be in life is crazy. We'll just assume that it's going to be wholesaling till death. And if that were the case,
well, let's say get your bank where you want it to be.
We'll call it a healthy 5 to 10 deals a month at an average of 17,000.
Okay. So if someone has a job that, let's say you have someone that builds the lists, right? And you have to go check those lists and make sure that they're doing it correctly. You got to check that at least once a week. So that's one thing, that if those lists get fucked up, the buyers aren't going in good, your team's wasting a lot of time. Is that getting you towards 20 deals a month closed, or is that getting you away from 20 deals a month closed?
No, it would be getting us away from it.
Right? So like, we have a goal and a mission that needs to get hit, and our systems are the only thing that's going to get us there. And if someone can't be held accountable to, you fucked up this part in the script, you fucked up by not putting in the fucking access information, or you fucked up by not putting in the information on the property, like is it rented, is it vacant? If it's rented, is there a security deposit? What is that security deposit? What's the rent amount? Right? Now what happens is my dispo person gets on a call and they go to call the fucking buyers and they're like, oh yeah, we got this property, comes with a tenant. They're like, well, what's the rent? You're like, I don't know. That's adding time to getting to the result. And then if you take that, it's like death by a million paper cuts, right? Like if you take that and you look at like the business as a whole, and it's like you're not holding your team accountable at every little turn that something gets fucked up, your business will be the definition of death by a million paper cuts because everything's going to be out of fucking place. So that's why, can you be a cool boss? Can you talk about life and real shit and fucking bring your team like into your real life and shit? I agree you can. Some people agree you can't. But what you can't do is you can't not hold them accountable at every single turn. You have to. It is actually like the one thing that will impede you from getting to your success. I'm off my soapbox.
Joey's passionate about this because we have all been there. We have all been the cool boss, and we have seen the shit show that it's created, and it is death by 1,000 paper cuts. I was listening to this the other day. I got to go back in the memory bank, so there's a podcast or a YouTube, but I finally saw the light the other day. All of this finally made sense. The light bulb moment went off. I wish I could crack my knuckles, but I can't. So get ready for this.
I can't either.
Reason is it's called the entrepreneurial trap. What is the entrepreneurial trap? The entrepreneurial trap is this. I don't want to work for anybody else. Fuck them. I'm starting my own business. I want to be left alone and do my own thing. We then start our own business. What we wanted is do our own shit, be left alone, do our own thing, is not what our team wants. So we're the cool boss because we are a mirror image of what we want, and we need to smash that mirror into pieces. So you have two options. You can be the cool boss and hire a asshole chief operating officer, or you can be the fair boss that is connecting each individual team member's personal goals to the KPIs, which get them to their goals in their life and get your business to its goals to match your vision. That's it.
I love that. Yeah, it's fire, bro. Because as I'm hearing you say that, no, that's totally it. I'm a terrible employee, brother. And I was like, yeah, fuck having a boss. No thanks. I'm going to go do my own thing. I'm going to start my own business. But yeah, hearing you say that, it's like, well, do you want the people on your team to feel like that? Not necessarily. How can we have a team if everybody feels like that, I guess, right? So I hear you completely. They got to be held to the standard of the KPIs that are required for success. And to address something Rita said, as we've been talking longer and I'm thinking about it, like, sure, I could be the laid back boss and my team will love me. Sure, that is one perspective. You know what I think would make my team love me, or any team love their leader or boss more, is $500,000 in their bank account, because the systems and the processes work so well that everybody's fucking paid, and then everybody does have fun at work, even though we're being held to the standards, because now we all look at our bank accounts and we're like, well, we're being held to the standards and that's tough, but the reason why is so I could keep getting these $100,000 months every single fucking month and living life how I want to live it. And I think personally, putting myself in the perspective of an employee, yeah, I think I'm going to love the boss who holds me to a standard that allows me to make $100,000 a month more than the boss who wants to go and get drinks with me every Friday night because he's chill and dope and cool.
I like it. And I think you're really on the right track. But there's one thing that I forgot to discuss.
Let's hear it.
It's never about the money. because they're going to hit the metrics. They're going to get to the life they want. They're going to get the car they want, the watch they want, the wife they want, the house they want. Then what? The money is way too short term. These people are relying on you as a leader to shape and mold them and turn them into at least how good of a leader you are in every area of your life. That matters more than money ever will. They want someone who is literally going to pour every fucking ounce of that cup into them every day. And they'd much rather have one-on-one time and recognition and guidance over money any day.
That's fire, brother. I got chills, actually.
I think it's both. I do think it's both, and I'll tell you why.
It is both. Money is the short term.
Yes.
This is more important. This is the long term. I'm just going to.
I think it's both because your team needs money, right? And like by being the chill, cool boss, you're actually preventing your team from getting money. I've had so many times where I was that chill, cool boss, and I didn't hold everyone to the highest standards and everything like that, and my team went fucking broke, and they had to leave the industry because they went that broke. And that was on me, and that sucked. And they were great people. But now I've had times where I am the fucking insane boss, right? Where like I am the one that is going to hold you to the fire every single time. However, as Ross said, it's not just about the money. So the culture that we're building, and I was talking to Jordan before about culture, which is a cult, is you can't just be about work. If it's just the business and that's it, like your team they're going to make money and then they're going to go leave and they're going to go on to make it fucking for themselves or whatever it is. And like the way that you get sustainable long-term people to rock with you is to actually love them and care about them and want to see them become better people, like Ross is saying. That is one of the biggest things that will make you guys grow a great business. Because for me, like my team knows I have people on my team that don't want to go to the gym in the morning, and we've talked about it at a deep extent, and now they see the point. And now they're going to the gym every single day, and they're not miserable about it. They're actually starting to like it, right? We're reading a book together, and everyone's fucking reading it. I'm making everybody meditate and doing the little things. And by doing it, that culture that we're building is we're all growing into better people as well. It's not just about doing the job and making the money. It's about the lives we can affect. It's about our families' lives that we can affect, being a better person every single day. So, yeah, that's why you can be the cool boss and also be the drill sergeant boss. And you need to be both. Like, you got to have compassion, you got to have love, but you also got to fucking drill the hammer down when it needs to get drilled in the nicest way possible so that you can hold people to the fire. And in the systems, you're not having death by a million paper cuts. You have a business that is functional now. The systems are working, which means we're making money, and now we can have fun while we're fucking doing it.
And just know, if laying the hammer down is something that you completely despise, no, because visionaries are visionaries, right? A lot of them are cool. A lot of them are the cool boss. If you are sensing any sort of inner conflict where you're like, honestly, laying the hammer down makes me feel really fucking uncomfortable and I feel really sad afterwards and it's affecting my personal life, you need to hire operations where they manage the people.
I agree. I see that. I feel that. It's very true.
They manage the people. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. It shows up in memes now. This fucking room. So long story short, you have to. Just gonna have to close this. Okay, good. Yeah. So long story short, this is something that you need to journal about. You got to write down am I okay with having this bad cop side? Or am I in my prime? If I had to make one decision, would I rather be good cop? And this is who I am, and I don't want to change, because as Joey was saying, never cause confusion on your team. Actually, right there, he's contradicting himself, because, I want to be the good cop. And the bad cop. Why do visionaries hire operators? Because the visionary is the good cop and the operator is the bad cop. The operator is there up everybody's asses saying, guys, we need to hit this. Guys, if you don't hit these numbers, you don't hit your personal goals. Guys, if we don't hit this, that car you wanted, that house you wanted isn't going to happen. How can I help you hit your personal goals? What can we do to make your job easier? And that's operations, right? So I think that's a big determination as you scale a business. If you do want to live only in the world of good cop, then just fucking be the CEO. Be the visionary. And if you would rather lay the hammer down and you want to see this thing operate like a fucking machine, and you want to ensure everybody is squared the fuck away or fired eventually if they don't shape up, then be operations. But I think being both fucks the business. Business needs good cop as well as bad cop full time.
I think that I disagree there. And I mean, it depends on the person, right? Because that's one skill I'd say I have with my team, where it's like they know I'm going to hold them accountable to everything, but then they also know that they can come to me for anything, any feeling shit, anything that's going wrong. They can always come to me with that, and I can be the good cop, right? But I think it depends on the person, because no one's to find another me is not ever going to happen, right? So it's like, I don't know. I think that's one skill I have for a fact is that I've built now is I can hold everyone accountable to the standard, and no one's getting, at least for the most part, no one gets mad at me. And then I can also be the cool, fun, chill fucking boss. But it's like, I'm not the chill boss in terms of like, you don't show up to the meeting and I'm not going to not address it, right? Like, it's going to get addressed, but that doesn't mean that my team is like, oh my God, Joey's such a hard ass and he fucking sucks and I hate him, right? Like, it doesn't have to be the bad cop. It just has to be accountability.
Let me ask you this then.
Yes.
Which one do you like being more? Which one resonates with your soul more? Scolding people and chewing them out and telling them everything they've done wrong?
But why does it have to be scolding and chewing them out? That's my thing.
I'm just saying, it's like, well, people do not like criticism. Let's face it.
Yeah.
They don't. But it needs to be said. It's just, how can we maneuver our language to caress them and guide them into the right direction without fucking completely obliterating their ego? That's really hard to do, right? That's an art in of itself to do full time. So let me ask.
I'd say I'm getting good at.
Okay, that's good. So out of the two, which one do you like doing better? Do you like the vision and steering the ship towards the vision and guiding?
The vision for a fact, and that's why I hired an operator, but I'm still going to always hold them to the fire, if that makes sense. Like, I do have an operator, right? We have that in the business now. And he does the same shit. He holds everyone accountable. If someone's not in the Discord with the camera on, he calls them out in the group chat and says, where the fuck are you guys, right? But I'd say it is one thing that I've gotten very good at over the years now. And that's one thing that people love about being my boy, like that. Like, me and Jordan are very close now, and fucking same with you, Ross, obviously. I hold everyone to the fucking fire, right? Like, that's also just part of my personality. I'm just going to tell you what I'm thinking. I'm not going to hold anything back. If I'm going to be fully me, right? And that's kind of how I lead at this point, is like, I don't fucking hold a single thing back in any aspect. I'm going to correct something I see as wrong, like, for a fact. But I'm also obviously a fucking visionary, like, true and true, as you guys know the way my fucking brain works. So let me ask you this. Can someone be a visionary and an integrated person all in the same place? That, not saying that they should be in that business, right? You need an operator and you need a CEO, especially the bigger scale you get, right? But can the CEO also hold people accountable and be step into that role occasionally if they see things that need to get fixed?
I think, can they? 100,000%. I think
Should they?
every person has the potential and the ability to wear both hats. And I think in the beginning of a lot of entrepreneurs' journey, you might have to. You might have to be the good cop and the bad cop. I think that's where I'm at in my journey. But I've not been propositioned with that question before, Ross. For me, it was an instantaneous answer. I'm the visionary, 100,000%. I will admit it fully. It is difficult for me to put on the bad cop hat. Joey and I have talked about this in a lot of different situations and scenarios. I really gotta get myself into that fucking mindset and that headspace in order to have those conversations. Not that it's impossible. It does not come as naturally to me as being full visionary at the front of the ship, at the wheel. I'm steering from the helm. I'm just looking forward. I can't turn around and pay attention to make sure that the crew is hoisting the sails and doing everything that needs to go on back there. I could turn around and shout back at the crew. Shout out to Luffy. This is a pirate analogy. I love it. But right, but I would much rather just be Luffy and look forward and lead us to the fucking clouds in the sky. It's not that
we just uncovered something huge right here.
What's that?
You need an operator. You need someone to do that, because as we're going through this conversation, I was as you were just speaking, I was kind of just going a little internal for a second. And the truth is, Ross, I used to hate this part. Bro, I was the biggest pushover when I first got into business. I was so bad at this shit because I'm a yellow personality. Yellows are not good at fucking doing shit like this, having the hard conversations, right?
Yep.
But as part of my growth curve of being in business for so long and failing through it, I've had to force myself to be the one that holds everybody accountable and holds everyone to the fire. And I have developed the skill where I'm pretty fucking good at it now because I had to be. There is no option in business sometimes. I was talking to Danny about this last night. And he was saying where he was the visionary, but also the operator, right? Or the integrator, not even the operator, right? And it's funny because that's why I think I need an operator as well. I think that's why I am a fucking visionary, just like Jordan is. That is where we fucking lead to. I'm the one with the sword that's we're fucking going into the fire, guys. We're doing a new challenge. We're doing this. And I do need someone behind me. I tell Santi every day, brother, you got to have the fucking broom in your hands at all time. My brain's going to tell us things that need to get done. And you better be sweeping that motherfucker behind me and making sure it does get done, because I can't hold everyone at all moments of the day accountable, because I need to focus on fucking being the visionary. So I fuck with this.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm glad we're coming to a lot of these realizations because, yes, part of our growth journey, especially if we are more visionaries, I'm more visionary, right, and integrator. But I've been forced into being an integrator as well. And that's formulated in the background a lot of really good integration skills.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you're thinking too small if you want to do both, because it's not fucking scalable, and it's almost like personality conflict and disorder, and you're going to be miserable because it's almost like, oh, which hat do I have to fucking put on today at any moment, right? A great CEO, the energy. A great
fucking love the energy.
Roofy. All right.
So a great CEO only does three things. That's it. They only do three things. So it's and those are the three most important things for that specific business. But if it's anything more than this, you're fucking yourself. So if you're doing 7 things, you're stupid and you're not going to fucking scale. And that's your ego thinking nobody can do it as good as I can. How awesome would you be if you only were the visionary and all you focused on was uplifting people, scaling the business, and steering it towards where it needs to go? That's all you did all fucking day.
Yeah, the business would be $1 million a month.
Dude, Why is there always a CEO and a COO? COO is in the weeds. And if the team ain't performing, they are responsible for disciplining, firing, or hiring a new person. You
100%.
never touch that because the negative they handle. You stay focused, you stay positive, and you think fucking enormous. That's it. That's all you do. Slim down the responsibilities and hyper focus on the few. That's what causes businesses to fucking explode.
I love it.
That's fire. Listen, question. What are the 3 things to see? I'm taking a note on that.
Yeah, what are the 3 things, Ross? Curious now.
It's I gotta go back to the drawing board. It's essentially is the business, it's the vision, is the business steering towards the vision? Are all the numbers looking good? Essentially, are we in the red or are we in the black? And then I think it's like, are the systems and processes being followed? Or is everything systemized or something like that? So it's checking in with the operator.
Uh-huh.
But essentially, it has something to do with obviously the vision is number one. Is that being adhered to?
Choosing the business model and deciding what markets to enter/exit, plus set priorities when everything feels urgent.
Yeah, it's so the vision and the culture, your marketing, and then it's just kind of like you got to look back at like the numbers, like where are we at and where is this thing going? But yeah, like you should not be doing 12 things. You should never look at that, and you really shouldn't ever really be disciplining people either. That's not your fucking job. That's the operators. They are the ones that lay the hammer. You are the one that people like.
Therefore, allowing you to be the laid back boss. Not laid back in the slang sense, just in the sense that, that just feels naturally right in my heart as I think about how I am as a person and what I align with. I actually did this exercise through Rob Dial's book, Level Up. I wrote down all the things that I'm good at. It was the Japanese term ikigai, which means what is your true purpose, right? So I went down and there was like 5 different things, 5 circles you draw, and in the center, everything that overlaps there is your purpose. Mine was teaching, coaching, motivating, and inspiring. I mean, I did that exercise, honestly, those were the 4 things for me. And so disciplining, holding people accountable, all of that it wasn't in my ikigai, right? That's not my purpose. So I think what Joey said earlier, like, when can I be at my best 100%, let's call it 120% Jordan, is when I'm at the helm of the ship, leading us forth into the unknown seas in front of us. That's it. I mean,
that's it. You break it down. You have to, doing one thing fucking gloriously is hard enough. And doing 3 things, that's already biting off a little bit more than most people can chew. And that's why they get fired as a CEO or they close their business. Yeah. So trying to do 7 or 10 things.
Imagine us when we started. We doing everything.
No, but like everything needs to be funneled down. What are all my responsibilities? What can it be funneled down to where the select few that matter the most align with my heart, soul, and my purpose, why I'm here? So all 3 of us are fucking visionaries. So we need integrators.
We need integrators.
Holla.
Which means, Jordan, what's your next hire, papi?
Integrator.
Finding someone that can run operations, brother. I mean, look, literally by me having Santi come into the business, the last 2 months have just been like, it's just been so much better, calmer. the chaos is gone, a lot of it. And I do see the value in that for a fact, but now it's also making me realize what I got to talk to him about, which is he's going to have to be willing and able to have those hard conversations that I am always having. Operators needed.
Yeah. And if you have not read the book Rocket Fuel,
Ooh.
Oh,
and
fuck.
that
was another one.
needs to
There we
be
go.
that needs to be shipped out immediately. That is directly aligned with everything we're talking about right here.
Rocket.
Every fucking visionary has a right-hand man. Every one of them. Because visionaries are disorganized. Visionaries fucking chase squirrels all day with their
Oh, it's a Gino Wickman book. Should rocket fuel one essential combination, that one, or just the normal rocket fuel?
Show me a picture. Bring it up to the camera. What is that one? I think. Right. What does it say after that? The essential combination.
The one essential combination that will get you more of what you want. There's that one, and then there's just the one that's. Oh no, it's both the same shit.
It's the same shit. That's the cover. Yes, that's the one.
Oh, one's an audiobook, one's a book. I'm gonna get the audiobook because we're lazy.
So, I think that book, like literally, that changed everything for me. Because I've been in both roles. And I know as COO, I was fucking miserable. Because I would rather empower and inspire people and then maybe throw a little bit of vision on the operations, right? But to be full-blown balls deep in spreadsheets and laying the hammer down on people all day, I would not be fulfilled whatsoever, and I'd likely take a lot of that work home, and it would fuck up my life personally. It sucked. So like, when in doubt, people always go to their brain for the answer, but it's actually in your heart. You have to shut up. You have to shut up and listen to your heart.
Golly, Ross with the sauce right there. It ain't in your brain, it's in your motherfucking heart. Golly. That's powerful, brother. No, I love that a lot, man. I really appreciate that perspective. Book ordered as well over here. Slight deviation from this conversation. A challenge that I'm doing this year. I told Joey about it. I think he's on the same train, and it's going to be hard being as close as we are with Ross because Ross reads more than I think even myself, which is a crazy statement to come out of my mouth. Any book that gets recommended by anybody anywhere, I'm buying it.
Buy it.
All 2026. That's the goal. So that is next up on the list. I'm reading through Level Up by Rob Dial right now, recommendation from Ross, and that's already been a game changer. So I'm really excited to jump into Rocket Fuel. And Ross, I'm going to be thinking about that statement as I go to sleep tonight, bro. The answer is not in your mind. It's not in your brain. It is in your fucking heart, chat. It's in your heart, chat.
Yeah, it's just, you got to think, Rita, I appreciate that, by the way. Thank you. Every time you do have to lay the hammer down, you always got to do it from a place of love for them. These are not your employees. These are not your team members even. Everybody throws that around. These are your fucking children. You're raising children. And I mean that not in a derogatory way. I'm saying what you would do as a parent, you need to do the same for your team members.
Fuck, Ross. That's right in the heart right there.
We were talking about that. We've been talking about that point a lot. And it is funny because it does sound super derogatory. It's like, these aren't like someone's like, you're not my dad, right? Yeah. But it's like, that's not what we mean, guys. You don't got to call us daddy. That's not, no. Get the weirdness out of your fucking minds, guys.
Have you ever heard, like, have you ever been at like a bar or restaurant and they have like a corporate, like, festivity for like Thanksgiving or Christmas or, that kind of time of year? Have you ever overheard like a speech that they say, or the CEO comes in and I've heard this so many times, whether on video or in real life, hearing these other people's private like speeches. I'm eavesdropping like a motherfucker because I love leadership. But you always hear like, you guys are you're my children. You're my kids. I'd do anything for you. right? And it's how you say it, but they are your children. Like they really are.
100%.
No, it's
So
great.
when you lay the hammer down and you actually get really good at delivering bad news and helping these people see through the current dip to look at the big picture and get their head out of it, out of the negativity, like people are going to start respecting you way more than you were ever the cool laid back guy that didn't pour into them.
100%.
You know?
100%.
Yep. No, that's fire, bro.
Jordan's taking a back, guys.
That's just near and dear to my heart, man. There's nothing more important to me than family, being a good husband, being a good father. And so when you say you're like my kids, people want to get defensive, and it's not like that. Like I'm not actually your father. But what is meant by that, right? When I hear that from my perspective, is I'm going to care about you like I do my children. I'm going to hold you accountable like I do my children, because I see your potential in the same way I can see it in my children, and I am invested in your success as equally as much as I am with my children. That's it.
I love
And
that.
it's basically an unsaid promise. I know exactly what you want, and I'm confident enough in myself to lead you to get you there, and we're going to make it happen.
Fuck yeah. I think we ended on that today, guys. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
This was fire. We finally get to see. I think we're going to start doing this way more often and maybe just turning it into a podcast. What do you guys think? Put in the comments if you guys think that would be valuable for you. But yeah, like this is basically, guys, every night, pretty much, me, Ross, and Jordan are on the phone having these conversations.
Yep.
And going deep into business, our businesses, our lives, and everything. And this is how we grow, right? It's like we fucking go deep into debate and we figure out what's going to fucking, like, what do we got to fix, right? Or what are we doing good? What are we doing bad? And yeah, if you guys feel like y'all want to see us turn this into a podcast, I'm down. I think everyone else is down. Definitely going to get it popping.
Let's do it once a week. Minimum.
So once a week minimum, I'm down. I mean, all we got to do is just plan it out, and I know we'll all commit to it. To get out of here, guys, you know, any show that we do together, we have to leave with the soapbox, even though this entire thing was a soapbox. But what final thoughts do you guys want to end with for the people?
I got one. Surround yourself with people who you can talk to like this about important, sensitive topics without it getting ugly or personal or egos getting raised or defenses coming out and personal attacks ensuing. We're just a bunch of brothers here who want to see each other grow. And like Joey said, through debate, sometimes conversation, oftentimes, that is how we can help people around us grow. And through that, we can grow ourselves. I say it time and time again, proximity is power. Surround yourself with people who can lift you up and who you have an interest in also lifting up in return.
Fuck yeah. Ross, you want to bring it home or I bring it home? All right, it's my turn, guys. So you guys got to be willing to get into debate, and you have to be willing to hear other perspectives. Because through me and Jordan having a disagreement on one thing with sales, I guarantee you from this conversation, Jordan's going to become a better leader from this. I'm going to become a better leader from this. And we're going to fucking lead some beautiful teams and change a lot of people's lives. So you guys got to be willing to drop your ego and just fucking listen sometimes. Because Jordan had great points. I had great points. Obviously, we won. but just fucking around. But at the end of the day, guys, like the most important thing of this is when you have two different perspectives, you're going to fucking hear different thoughts on things, and then you guys decide where you want to go run with after this, because that's what's going to make you successful. If everything was always just one way, and that's all you ever heard, and we can never debate anything, then how the fuck would we grow?
Love it. I'm going to go in on one last thing, and it's kind of with both of your points. Every leader is a learner. Know when to lead and know when to learn. If you are molding society, future leaders, know when to shut the fuck up and let them lead in the room so you can learn, because leaders are learners. That's
Chills.
it.
Golly, Ross. That's the third time you gave me chills on this call, brother. Absolutely fire.
Let's fucking get it, guys. Everybody go have a good rest of your day. Make sure you guys take some time off this weekend. Spend it with your families and yourself. They deserve it. And we will be back here probably next week. So stay tuned. We'll be making announcements when we're going live again. And we'll keep running these conversations up, and obviously some live dispo calls and some live seller calls. So Ross, appreciate you. Jordan, appreciate you. Everybody else, go have a good weekend and peace the